Well, welcome to episode number 48 of the Make Music Income podcast. I'm Eric Copeland of Make Music Income, and hello, composers. And I'm here with Stephen Bedall of the Production Music Academy. And on this podcast episode, what we want to do is talk about something kind of positive. We're coming around to the holidays. We should be positive. We should be full of cheer. We should be full of happiness. So on this podcast, and our channels, we do stuff. Steve and I both do stuff. And then we talk about what worked. And we like to say we teach by doing. And so a few episodes ago, we talked about what has made us no money. And so let's keep things a little bit more positive and bright and jolly and talk about what has worked in 2022. But first, and I've got something big to talk about today, and it's you could almost say life-changing.
Wow.
But certainly career changing possibly. And so it's
Amazing.
not it's small. It's a small indicator, but not that small. So I'll get into that next. Anybody who's watched my channel already knows what I'm talking about, but I will let Steve tell us what is going on in your world. What's working, man? What's going on?
Oh,
What's going on this week?
I'm excited to hear about the big news. I guess I didn't watch your last video. I haven't watched your last video yet. So did I miss something there?
This morning. It's this
this
morning's
morning.
live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I've been writing a ton, man. I'm writing love tunes. I'm writing electronic music. I'm writing lo-fi. I'm writing orchestral music. I've got like 5-6 projects going on at the same time. It's kind of crazy. But sometimes that's the way it goes. And I've been working out of my friend's studio. He's on tour in Japan right now. So he's given me the keys to the studio, and it's been amazing. Did some drum tracking there last night. This month's challenge, we mentioned this before, but this month's challenge in the Academy is doing a track without any VSTs whatsoever. So I got to record everything from scratch. So I got to work Wednesday night on some drums. And it took me a while. I had to set up the whole kit and then, the mics and all that stuff. And I got it all working. They got some great outboard gear there. I got to record through some SSL outboard gear, and it got a great, some really good results. So I'm starting to get to work on building the beds for this track that I'm working on. It's going to be kind of like a lo-fi track, except for, of course, no VSTs whatsoever. So I'm excited about that.
Wow.
And what else is new? I hired a singer from soundbetter.com. This is the first time I've ever done this. And I spent, a good few hours scrolling through different artist profiles and finding one that I found one that really struck me as she had an absolutely wonderful voice. And I was like, this girl would be perfect for this electronic cinematic track I've been working on. And, I wrote the vocals and the melody and the lyrics myself. And I did a really terrible demo because it was way out of my range. And I sent it to her and I said, hey, could you bring this idea to life? And she was really, really easy to work with. And, I gave her a lot of communication, and she got back to me pretty quickly with a take, and it was amazing. And it was so cool to do that. Now SoundBetter is the first time I've used the platform. It cost me about, I think, $175 US, which is a bit over 200 here in Canada. So it wasn't cheap, and the downside to it is that you can't produce the person, like that's something I really like to do. Like when my friend Missy comes and records vocals for me, I'm able to get really, really specific about, her inflections, her details, like I get to kind of micromanage all the details. And when you hire someone through SoundBetter, you kind of roll the dice and you get what you get. But the highest ranking professionals on the platform are, you're probably, the chances are you're going to get a really, really good take. And I certainly did. I asked for a few revisions that came with my purchase, as a couple revisions. And I sent the track off to Artlist yesterday, and I did a little track breakdown of that in the Academy. and I'm excited. It's really fun.
I usually will pay anywhere from 250 to 350 on
Yeah,
SoundBetter, because you have to remember that you're not just paying a vocalist, but you're buying them out. You are
that's
buying
right. Yeah.
you're doing this on a work for hire, and when pros do something on a work for hire, they expect to get paid a little bit more.
Yeah.
So because they're totally now locked out of any other future possibilities of income. So you have to be careful to make sure that you are doing it on a work for hire. But I also pick the vocalist. I think the part that you're right. There's not the micromanagement. I'm not a big micromanager anyway. As a producer, I usually pick the right person for the right job and then let them do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the real trick then is finding the right singer from the get-go, rather than saying, well, maybe this person could do it if they could change a few things.
Totally.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Make
totally.
sure you find a person who absolutely does what you want. And then you'll usually be pretty happy.
That's so true. And yeah, I was really, I really listened to a lot of profiles before I settled on the one that I wanted to work with. And, you know, it's, you really got to be careful. And, you know, the thing is that there's so many musicians working on the platform that, often the ones that are at the top of the searches, you know, like they're charging quite a bit, and, you know, they're clearly, like, they get a lot of business. They're really good at what they do. But you can kind of scroll down a little bit further and like get to like the mid-level ones. Maybe some musicians who are just starting out on the platform and their prices aren't as high. And I think that was the case for the girl that I work with. You know, she had quite a few reviews, but, you know, she wasn't charging quite as much as some of the other like top tier ones. So I think I got a good discount there.
Yeah, I it's talking about things that have worked in 2022. SoundBetter has worked for me. I've been using it for a couple of years now, but it's certainly worked. A lot of the country album that I just did and turned in to the library, I had that done on there. So,
and you have you get drummers and guitar players there, like mostly, or singers?
Only singers.
Oh, singers. Okay.
I do all my players could come from Nashville, and all the team I've had up there for, you know, 15 years of players that have been working with me since 2004. And I have 5 to 10 deep on those of players up there that I know personally, and I know exactly how they play, and they know what I want and all that kind of stuff. So I don't have to do that with players. And I have some singers like that too up there, but, you know, there's lots of different songs for lots of different voices, and so you have to find the right voice. So
in other news, I've spent about, like, my Black Friday spending is pretty much done. Like, a lot of the companies that have deals have already started putting their sales on. So I've spent about, I don't know, $1,000 or so this year so far.
What'd you buy?
Well, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do a video on it, so I won't go into it right now. I usually do like a little Black Friday, you know, goodie bag video at some point. I'll probably do that next week.
I'm looking forward to those, because I don't have a clue what I'm going to get yet. I mean, it's a pretty good month this month, so I have a few bucks if I find something. The only thing I've bought so far on Black Friday is, I knew I wanted to upgrade. I wanted to get my own Adobe subscription. I've been using my daughter's for a while, but she downgraded to just the photography stuff, and I needed Adobe Audition. Adobe Audition is a great 2-track auditor. Talk about something that has worked for me in 2022. Adobe Audition is kind of like its equal would be something like Adobe. I mean, what's the cheapy one that you can download for free? It also starts with Audacity. It's kind of a professional version of Audacity. Audacity is not, it's not that Audacity is not professional. It's just a little rough around the edges. It's a nice program, especially if I want to edit 2-track waves. And just, I use it a lot for all my everything, really. When final tunes I'm going to send out, I use it as a final place. Yes, I could go in Logic and do it, but this allows me to actually work with the waves in just the 2-track version. I don't have to have lots of tracks. I just have a 2-track editor. I'm a little old school in that way. And if I need to, I can remaster it right there with Ozone or something, or I can just clip I can, make sure the endings and beginnings and endings are tight. And then I can do all the metadata and renaming inside of it and save it as waves, save it as 4416 waves for Audio Jungle, save it as, as 2448s for everything else. But it's just a tool I've found indispensable, and I haven't had it for a while. So
cool.
The other day I woke up and there was a Black Friday for that. And with the student's price, I get the entire Adobe package for $15.99 a month.
Psh.
Everything, including Premiere, including Photoshop, including anything else I might want, which I don't really need things like Photoshop in this Audition program. So
I'm so mad at you. I'm so mad at you right now.
It's on. You can go get it now.
No,
it's still going.
Well, you get the educational discount.
That's true. I do.
It's expensive. Other than that, the good news for me is exciting. I don't even know how much I should really talk about this because I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit here, but I've been in talks with Cubase to do some content marketing.
You talked about this before.
Yeah, I have talked about it a little bit, but it was also tentative because I really only had I had a video call with the head of the marketing department, and he was, he caught one of my videos on YouTube, and he said he liked it, and would I be interested in Cubase? And I was like, yeah, sure. It's like 2 months later, I'm like, okay, I think I've kind of learned it now. So I sent him that video of me working, doing an orchestral hip hop track in Cubase, which is something I did like last week, and he loved it, and he's like, okay, let's get the ball rolling on this, and I think I'm confident enough with the DAW now to start making some videos for them. It's quite a bit of extra stuff to add to my plate at the moment, but I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be good, and we'll see where it goes. But I have a call lined up with them next week, and I guess it's all going to start. So hopefully you can watch for me on the official Cubase channel at some point. I don't know when it'll come out.
Oh, you'll be on their channel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Yeah. So it's like I'm working for them. And doing
awesome.
content for them. It's a really interesting opportunity. I don't know all the details about it, but
also bring people back to you. I mean,
that's the hope. I'm not doing it to as a way to promote myself necessarily, but I think that actually a lot of really familiar faces are on the Cubase YouTube channel. If you go and look there, I mean, obviously Dom Segalis, who's got his own channel, he's done tons of stuff for Cubase, and Make Pop Music. Austin from Make Pop Music is on there. A lot of really familiar faces on YouTube. So I'm stoked to join the party there. And then that's kind of the big news. I got an email back from him today, and I'm really excited about that, and put me in a good mood this morning. And
that's very cool. Yeah. I think you'll see growth. I hope so. Yeah. The way, if you are watching this and you have a YouTube channel and you want to see growth, either shout it out or get on a channel that has 10 times the amount of viewers that you do, and get people seeing you. And hopefully they will be nice enough to put a link back to your channel inside the videos, or at least your name. And if people like you, then they will, go to your YouTube channel and seek you out and subscribe. And it's what happened to me. It's how I built my channel, which was basically Daniel and you and Jesse and kind of that whole bunch of things that propelled me out of the hundreds of subscribers to the thousands of subscribers. So that's absolutely the best way. So congrats. That's going to be awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, that's about it for me. What's going on with you? What's the big news?
So here's what's going on with me this week. And this is going to be the start of all of what we're going to talk about today and what has worked in 2022, because this is a big one. It could work. If you look at my video that's on my channel from Friday of the live that I did, I have this picture of me. Actually, it's a picture of Gene Wilder from Young Frankenstein, and going, it could work. From that fateful day when I first heard a podcast about TV and film and advertising, sync licensing, and I remember that I that's what I want to do. I want to compose. I want to put stuff on there. And my greatest dream was to put stuff into these libraries that they were talking about, or get music supervisors to hear them, and then get somehow payments back to my PRO and payments to me. And today was BMI day here for us BMIers. And I noticed last night that someone said it in the Discord, I got an early BMI check. I was like, really? And so, because I've kind of been like thinking, if I'm going to get anything from some of these things I've been getting, it's about time to see them on BMI. It's been the 9 or 12 months or whatever. And especially the Christmas stuff. I know I had a lot of Christmas things used on TuneSat. Now, I've heard TuneSat is undependable. And so I looked at my account, and there was a 100% increase from the last time I got a BMI check. Now, that's not saying much because I only made about $17 last time from BMI, because it was just mostly pieces of pennies from Spotify and stuff like that. But this meant, and I didn't get to see the statement until this morning, and I was hoping I would get it before I did the video. But yeah, man, television revenue from Spain, from a little from Germany, and from the United States. I don't even know what, I know what played in Spain. It's the exact same things that TuneSat told me. But I also had an amount from the United States of network television play, and I don't even know what that is. It's not reflected in there. But the point is, I made between $100 and $200 on my PRO, which is a market improvement. It's like the next step from, maybe a few pennies I saw, I think last time, of television, and now in the hundreds of dollars, in the 3 digits. So to me, what this means is, and it's what I've been waiting for. I've been kind of waiting for that indicator that, the first indicator is writing great music that you get signed to a library, right? The second indicator is that television uses it and you see things on the TuneSat. The third indicator is that it gets paid to you through your PRO. And today, that is the day. And it's just, it's not much money, but it's still it's sweet.
It's symbolic is what it is. It's a long winding road to get to where you're actually seeing the results on the end, on your PRO end. And it's so important to get that validation, because it's like there's so many steps along the way towards that. Like you just said, there's so many gates. So many hoops you got to jump through. And you're finally seeing the results on the other end of it, man. That's great news. Congratulations.
It's 5 years in the making from when I decided to change from being a producer to a composer focused life, and getting, I don't put everything in the sink basket. I don't put everything in the stock basket. I put everything in all baskets, and really you could take all the baskets away and I would still just be a composer, just because I love to make it and I love to, put it out and let people hear it and that kind of thing. But this means that the sync thing is on track. This means that those television airings mean something. They may only mean $11 or $27, but they're going to all add up every time and mean something. So this is pretty exciting. It also means that TuneSat is somewhat accurate. It's maybe not completely accurate,
right?
But somewhat accurate, because the exact things it told me got played, I got paid. And so
I wonder if that's going to work out the same way for me. It's so fascinating. So, do you know, roughly speaking, whether these placements came from one particular library or multiples? Is it just one? No. Would you say, or is it more than
so
one?
So far, it's just my BMG library. Now, except for the United States ones, which I haven't seen on TuneSat, and I haven't seen, I don't know where they're coming from, and I don't even know how I'll know. And that's what I've heard about this business. You may not know. Some of the things that are coming in, and you may not know until you see it on TV and hear it behind a scene.
Right.
And so there may certainly have been stuff used on US television that I would see, but I know at the bottom in the summary it said US television $33 on one, and then that's just for my writers. I haven't been able to look at my public one, which was a smaller check, but still there's publishing too, because not everything that I I I get paid for. Like for instance, with the library, it should be 50% because I split that with the library, right? I split the publishing
Mm-hmm.
with the library, and so they're getting that other 50% in their publishing. So
For
you can think how much the library is getting from everybody they have in there.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, when you really add it up, and it's probably quite a bit. One of the members of the academy was asking if like she was wondering whether to like how the publishing works with Pond 5. I'm assuming that probably these placements didn't come from any royalty free libraries, right?
I still have seen absolutely no indication that any kind of stock music has reflected into my BMI.
And you are you signed up with Pond 5 Publishing?
Yes, but that doesn't mean anything for me. That only means something for them, the
But
publishing part.
it's with the understanding, or like the, supposed supposedly they're pushing it, or they're trying to collect it for you. And yeah,
Supposedly.
yeah,
I
okay,
haven't seen anything yet from there.
all right,
And Pond 5 has been pretty active for me this year,
right.
and much more active this year than last year since I went down in price. So I'll have to do some more research, but there's nothing that's showing me yet. Of course, my focus was trying to look at the bigger dollars, which were those dollars that were coming from television. And so that was the whole point of wanting to see that right away today. It's a good feeling. It's a little like that first, very, very, very first stock sale. Remember that
Yeah,
first
yeah, yeah.
stock sale?
I know.
My first one, my
I
first one was on 123rf.com
my
for
first
$6.
yeah, I remember very clearly my first sale on Audio Jungle, and how it made me feel. And I'm assuming that I'm going to feel the exact same way when I get my first. I've gotten like a PRO check from TV before, but it was for my band's music, and I've
Yeah.
actually I get like about $200 every quarter or so for this one song that was placed on a television show called Winona Earp. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got one track on there, and I still get a payout from it every quarter. But I
Because it's
think
on Netflix. It plays all the time.
right. So I think it would just be cool to get like, yeah, one of my like, tracks from Artlist or
Right.
something on a television show, or one of the tracks that I'm sending off to some of these new libraries I'm working with. That would be cool, and I'm really excited for that day. So congrats, man. That's
All
great
right.
news. But I think it'll be one of one of many more to come, and it'll grow as your catalog grows and you keep sending music out there. I mean, that'll just become exponentially larger over time.
Well, there's been like um, 3 to 5 times the amount of TuneSat reports since those Christmas songs,
Right.
and they were much longer uses. Some of them were like minute and a half uses. The Christmas ones were only seconds at a time, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that. But
Right.
these latest ones in Germany that are used on these reality shows, now different ones are going to pay different things probably, and they're going to weigh differently, and who knows what will be. But this is just this whenever anything like this happens, when that happened to me with 123RF, and then eventually maybe our motion array, once that started to make money, I was like, okay, this is all a thing. I just got to keep piling songs in here. You probably went through the same thing with all of that and said, hey, this is a thing. And now you're that way with Motion Array, and you're that way with Artlist. You go, these are things, these are definitely paying me. I know I can make money by doing these. I need to do more.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever something is like that, I just double down, and I say, I really got to make this part of my life. And this just happens to fit inside my life goals, which is just to be a composer and to compose and put the stuff out that I want to put out. None of the things that I put out, I want to stress this, are things I wrote only because I thought a TV show could use it. These are all songs that I had that in mind, but I also did them because I wanted to, because I wanted to write them that way for, and some of the songs are old songs of mine that I wrote 20 years ago. Some songs are songs I wrote years ago. Some songs are like public domain songs, and I just wanted to do a certain kind of arrangement, and that's what just paid me today.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the news. That's I can't shout this from the rooftops enough, only because a lot of people following us are wondering if sync is a thing, if sync is going to work, if they put the time in and they make great tracks and they find a great library and they get it in there, and even if it gets on television, will it work? Will it pay? And it looks like to me that this is a thing. And my next email is probably to Jesse saying, hey, remember when you said the first check is tiny and then eventually there's a check that comes along that makes you think this is going to work? Well, I got that. I got the check.
Yeah.
So, there is worth in this, just like you've proved Artlist can be successful and Motion Array can be successful. And, this is I think you've already seen a ton of TuneSet stuff. I think you are waiting on a payday right now with your next SOCAN or a future SOCAN check.
Yeah.
Future.
We'll see. SOCAN is notoriously behind some other PROs. That's what I've heard. I've heard that they're like 6 months behind BMI. So it may be a little while, but
look at this.
I think
I'm not going to show it to you, but I when I look at TuneSet, that report came in. What was it? When I got the TuneSet report that it was played, and the date it was played on was at least December, might have been November of last year. So let's see. No, it was actually right around Christmas, 12/24, 12/26, right around there. All these plays came from 37 seconds, 11 seconds, 26 seconds, 12 seconds, 35 seconds, and 25 seconds, and 7 seconds. That's what I was just paid for.
Very cool.
Just now. And that's not very many seconds, but that would all happen on 12/26. It's November 18th. It's almost a year before I actually see money from that come in. And that's interesting intel, I think, to have, to know that this is, and you're told this from the start with Sync. You have to be patient. You have to wait. It's going to take a year before you even find out if you've made $1 with this. It may take years to get stuff into libraries. It may take years to get on television, and then it may take years to get paid. So, this is an example of that in action. It's 2 years since I signed with this library this November. So that it all falls into place for the patience, and money can come. So that's the first thing I want to talk about today, because to me, I can now say that not only have I gotten libraries, but I've actually been paid through Sync, and it works. And it's what is working for me in 2022.
Yeah, well, I think I think everyone listening will be really excited to hear that. There certainly is, the question of, does this work? And I think, it's a tricky business to kind of onboard, yourself into it. It takes years, and and
you have to do all the work up front. There is no, at least with stock, if you put something in, it gets some sales, you could see money as soon as next month. But with this, or if you go do a gig, you get paid that night, or if you sell a product, you get paid that second that you sell the product, whether it's online or in person. But with this, it takes a good long while before you might see any money back from it. And now you can start to say, okay, at least there's something on the other side of the ledger that can make back. And that's all we ask really of these music ventures, is they make us back some kind of income, even if it brings us even. We get the joy of doing it. And how much do you value your time, and does it pay for your time? It's up to you, I guess. But to me, I would be doing this anyway. I would be making these songs anyway. And a lot of these have partners. I need to go back and see if any of these have partners. I don't think they do. I think these are just ones that I did myself. But there will be ones coming up that will have partners. Now, I don't think they get any of my BMI money. They really only get upfront money, and I haven't seen any upfront money yet on any of these.
Yeah, I'm just checking my statements here, and it's all my band stuff. Although I did get some an internet royalty statement.
I always get those, like from Spotify and different things like that.
Yeah, these are from Spotify and Apple. So like SOCAN's collecting some of these. But I mean, my television and stuff, it's like I just got, like, my latest statement is $85, and that's all for that one tune. So funny.
Then you get one thing that works. We know that and that's really the next thing for me that I wanted to talk about that's working in 2022. It didn't work as well on my last payment as it did on some of my other payments, or at least my last month. But I Content ID is something that
Yeah.
we had questions at the beginning of this year if that was going to be a thing that we did, if it was going to work. And I think the question of if it is worth doing is answered
I,
as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know if it is for me. I don't know if it
Okay.
is totally. I sometimes wonder whether I'm restricting myself with Content ID, just on the basis of not being eligible to send it to Artlist. And Artlist is
Well,
um, such an opportunity for me to earn royalties on the back end. So that the question is whether, because if I sign something up for Content ID, I'm restricted to Motion Array only, essentially.
yeah.
So by taking Artlist off, the list of possible royalties to collect, then I think I'm probably losing more money than I'm earning with Content ID. But that would have been a different story had one of those songs landed on a video that went viral and I made hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I mean, that would have been a different story. So it's a gamble, right? But the jury's still out on whether or not Content ID is working for me, and I really haven't collected very much on them, despite the fact that these tracks in Motion Array are getting thousands of downloads, many thousands. So
The proof with you though, and here's what I say about that. Then you're gonna get an Artlist payment here in the next month or so, right? Probably the end of the year payment.
yeah, December, yeah.
So you'll get a big bunch of money there, and you'll be like, put this up against Content ID. There's no comparison. It'll be 1,000 times more than what you've made in Content ID probably. But what I think you've got to really draw a line. I did a video earlier in the year drawing the line between sync and stock, or for Content ID, drawing the line for Content ID or something like that, where I just have to decide what is going to be non-exclusive and what is going to be exclusive. And in your it's tricky with Artlist because that's also non-exclusive, but it's not exclusive. It's not non-exclusive with Content ID.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to decide, okay, is this song going to, yeah, it's going to Motion Array. Yeah, it's going to, but is it also going to Artlist? And so that's a personal decision you have to make if you're going to do that. I have to decide, am I going to send this and try to get this into a library? This is really focused for exclusive libraries, like the one that these songs have gone through and brought me money today. I can't put Content ID on those because those are going to be Content ID owned by the library. They want the Content ID. So yeah. I think you just have to have a ledger and say, oh, this stuff over here is okay to go to Content ID and this stuff is not, because either I think it might go to exclusive libraries or it might go to Artlist or a company that I know wants to have the Content ID. And I just think you have to be that careful. But everything that is not going to Artlist, everything else that's done not nailed down and going to an exclusive library of any kind, I'm going to put on Content ID. So yeah, I think Content ID is you just have to make a choice between what can be in there and what you're cool with. And you have to be careful with your own catalog and make sure that you are putting the right things in Content ID in the same way that you have to be careful if you are putting things in certain kinds of catalogs. Like I'm putting it in a catalog that says they don't want anything that has Content ID. Well, then you can't put a song that has Content ID in there. You just have to watch those restrictions. It's just a matter of keeping a good database of your songs, I think.
Yep. Totally.
All right. So, but it has brought in money. It has brought in some income. It's small. It's $300-400 for me so far this year, which is not nothing. So I'll let that come in. If I compare it to everything else, it's the second most money I've made with the stock stuff or the non-exclusive stuff outside of Motion Array. So, and that's the next thing I want to talk about that has worked. Stock continues to work.
Yeah.
It's really working for you. And it continues to work for me as a nice side income hustle that I add stuff too, and it
Mm-hmm.
does help to increase the catalog and add more too. And I'm talking mainly about Motion Array, Pond 5, and Audio Jungle. Now I know a lot of people can't get on in Audio Jungle anymore, but for you and I, we're both in all three of those. You are more focused on Motion Array than any of the others now, just because of what Motion Array is doing for you. But for me, Motion Array, Pond 5, and Audio Jungle are bringing in a bit. And also, I have to talk about Song Trader, which has brought me over $300 this year, and is really up there because of some of the monetization, and I also do some distribution through there. So
Mm-hmm.
those are things that are working for me, not on the level of some of the other things, but they're bringing in some side monthly income, and monthly income around the 15th is never a bad thing, you know.
It's
Pay some bills.
fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Motion Array, I mean, stock is working. It's working, man. I mean, it's like, the Motion Array has just been, has been huge for me this year. I really, I'm just so grateful, to have some traction on that library. And I think, if anything's worked for me, it's just really kind of digging into a library's catalog and really getting a very good sense of what is working for them, and just modeling my my submissions after after the trends that I see in that marketplace. And I think that that's something that I tell people to do all the time, if they want to, not only to get their application considered for Motion Array, but to actually do well there. I think you have to write for the library, and you have to remind yourself that we're in like a service industry here. We're servicing people who use our music for their video content. It's like, we're not, I think I always think about that. I'm trying to write music that's going to work for people. I'm not trying to write music on Motion Array it's going to work for me. It's like, I'm trying to think about other people here. And if anything's, kind of worked for me this year, it's sort of, really embracing that mindset to this, in the sense that, like, I'm always constantly thinking, like, what's going to, get people the most excited when they press play on this track? What's going to get them to download this? And, it's something that I talked about with Dave recently on a podcast episode that he's going to put out pretty soon. I think next month. What makes for a good stock track? What makes for a good royalty-free track? Well, I think it's big energy right out of the gates. And something that's going to work for visual media. It's going to work for advertisements. Something that is is dynamic, so it has like sort of a narrative to it, right? Like there's an ebb and a flow to it, and there's a few moments of silence, and then we come back into this big chorus or whatever, and there's something that people can use as like a sort of to edit their video to, and create sort of a flow, using that music as the narrative that's going to push the editing and just the flow of the video and the energy. And I think that's something that's worked for me, and cutting out the super long intros. That's something that's worked for me too. It's getting right to the point. These are little tricks that I've sort of I find have really, really been effective for me this last year.
Yeah, and absolutely go back to Stevie's Motion Array video, where he talks about what he made a few months ago, the big payout, but why he made that big payout. And you really cover all this information in that really well. And what you just said is almost like you do it for Motion Array versus me. I end up making a lot of stuff for me. Now, that being said, a lot of the stuff that I do is way more fringy, and it's for Christmas use, or for Halloween use, or for 4th of July use, or for Christian use, or for whatever it's used for. I just like to write a lot of genre stuff like that. That stuff doesn't pay as big, but it pays consistently and over and over. And I also do a lot of piano stuff. I do a lot of jazz stuff. Again, fringy type places. So if you do fringy stuff, don't expect to make to go crazy on Motion Array specifically, because they're after a certain thing, and Steve is writing specifically for that. Now, that being said, I'm looking at my list of upcoming songs, and there's probably half of them that I'm trying to write in a more upbeat, pop fashion for exactly what you're talking about, using your songs or other people's songs as kind of templates. And so I am trying that, but but all of those are still what, in my style. So whether my style works or not, it's just what it is. It's the same with trying to get in exclusive libraries and get the kind of stuff I was just talking about as far as sync licensing. You may or may not make the thing that every music supervisor dreams of,
Yeah.
and every television show needs. So
there's certain genres that are, at the end of the day, they're just more accessible and they're more popular, and we all know that. Like hip hop, pop, and cinematic styles. These work well across the board in licensing. But I think, just speaking to what you're saying here, I think it's important to have a good, healthy balance of writing for yourself and doing whatever the heck it is that pleases you. It could be something weird and fringy. If you like it and it makes you happy, then do it. If all you're doing is writing music, that's in service of a certain library, it's probably not going to make you happy at the end of the day. I think you have to have a strong balance of both, digging into your own projects, your own fun stuff, and then also writing music that is whatever. It's not like I love writing corporate music. It doesn't, I'm not passionate about it, but it does sell and it makes me money.
I say this all the time on this podcast and on my channel. I am me. I am older than you, and I have been through all my serving years. In other words, I have been 22, 25 years serving clients, making music for them, and happy to make music for them because I'm being paid well. And so you are also in that spot. I was happy making that music. I was happy making those songs for other people. Because at the time I was into being a producer. I was into being paid really good money for sitting in the world's top studios with the world's top players. That was beautiful for me. And I wasn't in this place where I am now in life saying, hey, I need to finish all my life's work. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's going to depend on where you are in your career. If you're 25 years old or 35 years old or whatever, and you're like, dude, I just want to make music and get $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month or $500 a month or whatever, you probably be more willing to do just about anything you got to do and have fun doing it, just because you get to do music. And when especially, I think that's exactly where you are in all of these things. You're like, well, yeah, maybe it's not feeding my heart completely, but hey, I'm having fun. I'm making music. I'm doing my thing. And that's where I am in my life right now. And I think everybody's going to be in a different place. And I'm just not in the place where I'm only out to, I want Motion Array to accept these and help the Motion Array users. That's always why I put stuff up there. Mm-hmm. But, it may or may not fit everyone, and it may not fit the bigger crowd. I've always been a genre jazz guy, and that's 4% of what people listen to. Classical is 4%. Mm-hmm. Christian music is 4% of what people listen to. It's not the 40% or 30% that pop and R&B is and stuff like that. So that's just to be expected. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to other things that have worked, and I only have a few more here. Online channels. And when I say online channels, I do mean YouTube channels, but I could mean podcasts like this. I think this has done okay. We don't monetize this podcast yet. We might in season 2 coming soon, or I don't know.
When does season 2 start? Next year?
Season 2 starts after
episode 50.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. By the way, if you're listening to this, we've been talking about it this week. And I think on our 50th episode, we may do it live if we can figure it out, because I think I can bring you into my StreamYard and we can both be live on Make Music Income. And I think if I do it right, we might be able to be live on both channels at the same time.
I was wondering about that. Yeah. Can you do that?
I'll check. I'll find out. But anyway, that would be cool if we could figure a way to do that.
Yeah.
And be live on both channels at the same time with all our friends from your academy and from my channel and everything.
Definitely.
But I don't know about a second season. I think it's more impressive to say episode number 68 rather than season 2 episode. What are we, Dynasty? I mean, what are we, like
It's like a
a
Netflix
TV
series or
show?
something.
Right. We don't have to do that necessarily.
No.
But our online channels, my online channels are monetizing. I added it all up this year, and it is starting to bring in a sizable income that is actually probably going to rival or be more than stock music,
Mm.
all told. Between, monetizing your channel is not as sexy as people think it is. It is not as income generating from
No,
YouTube AdSense as people think,
no, it's not.
but it's still something that comes in. But it's probably more the academy that you've started, the ebooks that I've been selling, this mastermind I'm getting ready to do on both channels, and those things can bring in income. So can coaching, individual consulting with people. Those things all add up, and they can all bring in income from online channels. So if you are someone who's thinking, how could I make money with my music? It doesn't have to be a teaching channel like ours are. It could be an artist channel or a composer channel, and just showing off your compositions. I know people
Yeah,
who do that.
yeah. I mean, the online, the YouTube has just been a real career game changer in
Yeah.
so many ways because yeah, like you said, the monetization from YouTube itself is very, very small. It's very, very hard to make money on YouTube unless you're pulling in thousands and thousands of views regularly. And all of the marketing that I do online it's all organic. I haven't paid a cent
Yeah.
for any advertisements for Production Music Academy, for Production Music Tools, the MIDI pack company that I have, and the consulting stuff at all, and even the commission work I did for Google last year was all through YouTube. So when you add that all up, I mean, it's very, very effective. And I've really managed to monetize it. It's amazing. And I think that that should really get you thinking about, I'm not saying that everyone has to go out there and be a talking head on YouTube,
No.
but it's a really effective way to put your music out there, I think, if you do it properly. And I don't know, there's so many ways you could start a YouTube channel. You don't have to do what we're doing.
If you look at somebody like who's the girl I just start following that I watch a lot. She's the English lady, and she's also been, or English. She's a young lady, but she has been on Rick Beato's channel a lot, and I'd have to look it up on YouTube to see her name, but she just shares her life and her thoughts,
Right.
and basically, and then every other maybe fourth video, she shares a song, and it's she is a talking head to some extent, but not quite like the talking head like what we're doing, where she's focusing on teaching. I don't know if she has courses or whatever, but I'm just saying that it's possible that that could be. And no, there's also Anne. I can't remember her name right now, but she's got a really nice channel. Rick Beato, who is a very interesting guy who talks about his life in the industry and stuff like that. But there are a lot of people, but it's not only about teaching and courses and academies and all that kind of stuff. They're doing a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not on my normal thing right now, but I'll find it. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure who you're trying to talk to, but yeah, I mean, it's like
I'll tell you their names here in a second.
yeah,
Go ahead.
there's all sorts of. I mean, I never would have thought that if anyone would find it interesting when I made my first YouTube channel. I was just like, I don't really, I can't imagine anybody finding this
Same.
interesting. And I was like, just blabbing on. I think I did it out of boredom mostly. I was like, I'm bored. I'm going to talk about audio drama, but a lot of people were really interested and found it useful. And it's like over time, I've kind of learned to become more comfortable putting myself in front of a camera and just sort of talking about my life. Not all my videos do well. Some of them do really well and some don't. And it is just sort of a process of, in more of an objective sense, I'm just putting myself out there. And I think that that's the key, is really just like, put yourself out there, like, and see what happens. You never know. And just the little that I've done has really paid me back hugely, and I've made friends like yourself online by doing so. And, I've made other friends all over the world, and I'm putting out a release with my friend Mansij from India that's coming out this that actually I think I'm doing a video that will be live on the same day that this podcast comes out, because it's live at this moment now. And that's, someone I met through just putting myself out there on YouTube, and the Discord community. We have friends there. I got to,
the artist I'm talking about is Mary Spender.
Oh yeah, I've heard Mary Spender.
She has like commentary really videos,
right,
with a little bit of teaching, and then every fourth video or so she'll do a cover, or she'll do an original song or something like that. But it's not just, hey, look at me, hey, look at me, hey, look at me. It's like commenting on things. And the other
sharing
person who is
stuff.
a teacher and then shows some of her music off is Anne Catherine Dern.
Oh yeah,
who is a composer out in Los Angeles, I believe, and she is a film and TV composer, and she does a lot of teaching.
right.
Literally, she gets into polychords was a recent one. The mystery of mediance, the secret of planing, the magic of the pedal tone. I mean, she gets into some deep stuff, but she also talks about buying stuff and the orchestration books and noise canceling headphones. So you can't, she's more of a talking head type of person like we were talking about, but you can start a channel with your music, and it can be something. So
totally.
All right, let's see. The last thing I have on my list here is music education. I think this is, and again, for both of us, this kind of falls back into the last one. We're both educators on these sites. You're literally, and so am I, doing videos all the time. I'm doing on 2 channels with composing thoughts and trying to teach things about composing and trying to teach things about making income. You're teaching about Cubase now. You're teaching about OBS in your latest video. You're a teacher. You probably, I don't know if you think of yourself like that, but you are an online educator, and you, like you said, and you could teach at a local recording school if you wanted to, and you probably, that might be a down the road thing for you to do, just because of your background. And I think I heard someone on the Discord say the other day, my wife has given me until a certain time to finish to make money with music, and then I have to go get a real job.
Oh, no.
And I responded to that. I responded to that by saying, that's not a loss. That's not like you failed. That's just, you need to get some other income coming in while you continue this music stuff. Yeah. And if you can build your own music studio or your own music education online, or you can build it with students that are coming into your home. You did this whole guitar student thing, and you had how many students at one time?
Oh, I don't know. I had about like a dozen students. Yeah, at one point.
I know a guy's had 40 piano students, and made a career with that, and before trying to get in some other things. So there are ways to make income working for a school, working as a teacher, doing educating, that can bring in income. And this is something obviously that's worked for me this year. I taught piano lessons, and that brought in some money every week.
Right.
It was weekly. It paid me weekly until I got the job at this recording school, and now that's paying half of what I want as a yearly salary. I mean, it pays a good salary and with benefits. So, I am big on music education. I think it's still something that you can do right alongside all of your other things that you're doing, and still feel like you are in the music business. You're in the music world, and you're making money from music, and don't feel like, I got to go back to working construction because I can't make money with my music. So,
you don't have to be, you don't need a music degree to be a good teacher either. I mean, I don't have a degree in like music theory or anything like that. I know how to play guitar, and that's enough for people to learn from me. And I went to audio engineering school, so I feel more qualified to talk about the production side of things. But I had a dozen guitar students. That's not like I studied guitar, in school or anything like that.
All right, man. Well, I know I've got to go. Actually, go. Speaking of,
you got to go to work.
I've got to go across town and teach now, and I hope this has been helpful to you, especially knowing that things are working in 2022. Things are working for us. And now, have we put in years to get where we are? Yes, we have put in years. I'm in my second year now of stock, which has been is paying only a certain amount for me, which is fine. Steve is in it. You've been in stock for what, 5 years?
Yeah, about 5. Yeah.
And
Ish.
I've been in sync for about 5 years, really pursuing it, and it's just now paying off. These things sometimes take a while to build up, and so be of heart this jolly season that you can do this, and maybe for 2023 these can be things that you focus on and see if they work for you. But remember that none of these things we've talked about we just started one day and the next day they started making us money. All of these things took years to build, but they can be built and they can work, and it could work is my new thing. It can work. It has worked for me. So that's about all I got.
Well, good to hear the great news, and congrats on that. And if you build it, they will come, as
that's right.
Kevin
exactly.
Costner said, or something.
All these things we're talking about. My music education came from going and get a music degree and having a background in producing music. My online channels took a year and more now to build. My Song Trader and my stock, it took a while to get up to that point, and a good catalog. Content ID, same. Sync, same. I had to build up that right catalog for Sync to get into the libraries in the first place, and then to get selected by the shows, and then to get paid. So all of these things take time and diligence and a plan. From the beginning, plan to make money with all of these things, but just know that some of it may take time.
Yeah, don't quit the day job too soon.
Yeah, or go get another one. All right, man. Well, good talking to everybody. Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We'll be back with another podcast next week, and then heading up to our 50th episode, which we have no idea what it's going to be. But I think I have an idea.
I got a plane ticket to Hawaii already.
Yes, we'll be. The Hawaiian episode is on track. So get your luau, get your what do they call it? Your leis ready, and all your Hawaiian stuff. We're going to have a big time in our Hawaiian 50th episode.
Yes, sir.
Excited about it.
I'll be very excited.
Steve will be ready to get into some sunshine.
I need a tan. You can tell by how much paler I am than Eric.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time and talk to you next time on this podcast. Thanks for watching and listening.
See you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.